Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be here today in Riga to speak at this conference in your beautiful capital. It's my second time here. It's a very nice town, so I love it. I love it. Sorry?
Grab my phone, sorry.
Your phone, yeah. Yeah, we heard today a lot of expectations from the management and what can an internal audit to give the management informations. And yeah, it's a pleasure for me to speak today about performance auditing. Performance audit, we heard it now from Iris Rauskala. It's a specific type of auditing, and yeah, and it's more and more a topic in the, I would say, in the community of internal auditors, where we are talking about performance auditing. But you heard it already. Also, the management is talking about performance auditing and the importance of performance auditing. And in our project, one part of our project is also performance auditing. To talk about performance auditing, what does it mean for maybe for Latvia, and what can we work out in this project? And I want to give you some informations, maybe some theoretical informations, results from our project, and perspective. What does it mean to make performance auditing? What's the term performance auditing? What's the targets of performance auditing? But also, which methods we heard today about audit methods in performance auditing? What can be useful tools, for example, in performance auditing, and what are the benefits for the public sector? So first of all, there is a question: what is performance auditing? So everybody is talking about performance auditing, but what is performance auditing? And INTOSAI, so the umbrella organization of the supreme audit institutions, can give us an answer to this question in their standards. And one of the standards, the ISAE 3000, says performance auditing are independent, objective examinations of government measures, projects, procedures, and organizations from the point of view of economy, efficiency, effectiveness, with an indication of any possible improvement. So that's the definition from the INTOSAI, and this definition shows us very clearly, I would say, the focus of performance auditing. Namely, the view on economy, efficiency, or effectiveness. Not in each and every audit we look to all the three famous E's. It's always a look to efficiency, effectiveness, or economy. You can look in an audit on all three E's, but you can also look on one E, for example, in a performance audit. And another question is, what are the targets of performance audits? In summary, performance audits have two main targets, I would say. On the one hand, we have the target about promoting economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in the public administration. And this target goes hand in hand with the promotion of good governance, accountability, and transparency in the public sector. And on the other hand, there is a target that performance audits are about making suitable recommendations based on research, fact-finding, and audit conclusions. And these recommendations, on the other hand, so the other target. These recommendations must be based on substantial research, fact findings, and audit conclusions. And it is exactly this aspect that makes performance audit something special. Because, for example, it's about making statements about if something is working well or not. It's not about are we doing the things correctly? It's about the question, are the things or something is working well or not? And it's about making constructive proposals for solutions to the recommendations. So the recommendations in a performance audit are not, you have to fulfill this regulation or something like this. We have to find constructive proposals for solutions in our performance audits. Yeah, and performance auditing, I would say it's a relatively new field in auditing compared to other types of auditing, such compliance audits or financial audits. Performance audit is really relatively new, and it is also developing this kind of audit, or this type of audit. And it means, or this type of audit approach is about developing more and new information. More and new information for citizens, for politicians, and for decision makers. We heard it already by Iris. She said us she wants to have this new information. And that's a important part for performance auditing. So that means that performance audit tries to develop new insights through detailed analysis or new points of view, or also to facilitate access to existing information for different stakeholders. So in organizations there are very often existing informations, but the relevant stakeholders doesn't get this information. So that's also a part of performance auditing to facilitate access to existing information to different stakeholders. And it's also about providing independent and valid evaluations or conclusions based on an audit evidence. Yeah, okay. Then we talked about, or I talked about this, this famous 3 E's: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. But what does it mean, economy, effectiveness, and efficiency? And behind these 3 terms, there are 3 important, I would say also leading questions to find out what does it mean, effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. And behind the effectiveness, the term effectiveness, there is a question about, are the right things being done? That's the question about the effectiveness. So, are we doing the right things? Behind the efficiency, there is the question, are the things being done in the right way? There is not the question, are we doing the right things? There is the questions, are the right things, or are the things being done in the right way? And the economy, the question behind the economy is, are the best results being achieved with the available resources? So we have, in each and every organization, we have limited resources. And are these limited resources being used in the best possible way? The next graph shows you the relationship between these terms. And the observation objectives for the three different terms: the effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. And on the left side, you can see, for example, the observation object are the objects for the organization. Here are the overall objectives, for example. And we produce in each and every organization an impact or an outcome. And the relationship between the overall objectives of the organization and the impact and outcome is the effectiveness. So are we doing the right things? In the middle of this graph, you can see we have an observation objective here. It's resources. We put resources in our processes. We put money into our activities. We put time resources into our activities. We put human resources into our activities. And with this input, with these resources, we are producing an output. And the relationship between the input and the output, it's the efficiency. And you can see here also the connection between the objectives and the resources, because based on our overall objectives, we put resources into our activities, produce an output, and this output produces an impact or an outcome. So, on the right side of the picture, you can see the question about the economy. And it's here about the look to actual costs and target costs. So are the available resources, the limited resources, are used in the best way? We are looking here to economy. And when we look at, as an auditor, to all these fields, the effectiveness, efficiency in the economy, we are looking into a legal framework and a defined quality level that we have in our organization, or that we have defined in our organization. The next slide looks at the question why we should do performance audits now. And there are 4 aspects. The first aspect is we want to have a constructive promotion of an economic, effective, and efficient administration. Then we want to increase accountability and transparency in our organization. Then a support of decision makers to improve performance in the public administration. And finally, we want to create added value for citizens. That's maybe not a direct result of the activities of public auditing or of performance auditing. But at the end of the day, we want to add value for citizens in the public sector. The focus of performance audits is therefore, for example, on the evaluation of activities of an organization that contribute to achievement of the organization's goals. If the audit focus is on an impact, then it's about evaluating how effective activities are in achieving the organization's goal. And if the audit focus is on economy, It is about evaluating. It's about evaluating if the activities of an organization have been carried out with the limits of the budget resources. And the approach of performance audits. There is a comprehensive and open approach. So we heard today from Andreas, for example, we want to have an overview. In a performance audit, we need a comprehensive and very open approach. And performance audits, they are more objective-oriented than problem-oriented. So we are looking, maybe we have the foresight view in a performance audit. So we are looking to solutions, we are looking to objectives and not so much to problems. What is the outcome of a performance audit? Performance audits, they generate added value for the management. We heard it today. They want to know or they want to get information from the audit, and they want to have added value from the audit organization. And performance audit is one type of audit to generate new information from another point of view, and that produce added value for the management. And this added value is based on reliable, objective, and independent information. Performance audits provide answers to questions such as, do we get value for the budget resources? Or it is possible to spend the budget better or more wisely, for example. And it also provides incentives of learning and change. By providing new information and drawing attention to different challenges from different perspectives. What can be the subject now for a performance audit? Basically, there are no specific requirements for performance audits or expectations for a subject of the audit. A very flexible use of possible in the choice of audit subjects, but also in audit methods. This depends strongly on the audit mandate and the specific object of the audit. So not each and every performance audit looks like the same. And it depends really on the audit mandate and the specific object of the audit. Performance audit, I already mentioned it, are basically very comprehensive and open to judgment and interpretation. And therefore they also make use of, there is a use of various or a lot of different methods in examination and also in evaluation. Performance audits are not limited to specific programs or agencies or funds. They can also relate to activities or existing situations. Not always specific on a specific organization or on an agency or something like this. You can audit a process, for example. That's an activity in the organization. Something about the audit procedure. The audit procedure in performance audits that we make in Austria. The procedure, I think it doesn't look like so different from other audit procedures. But one thing I want to say is when you make a performance audit, it's very useful to use project management structures and project management tools. because it helps to get more structure in the field work and in the planning sequence and so on. You can see here in this graphic or in this graph that our different phases in our specific performance audits, with all the activities that we are setting there in this in the different phases. I told you at the beginning, I want to say something about audit methods that we use in our performance audits. And we separate our audit methods that we use in qualitative and quantitative audit methods. We use a lot of different types of methods. These are not specific audit methods. They came from different management knowledge and so on. So we use qualitative audit methods like an expert interview or a group interview, but we also use, for example, very often process analysis as an audit method. Not each and every process are described in an organization. So we very often have the job to develop processes. Also qualitative data analysis. It's a quite new instrument for us, for example, that is used in our audits. Here you can see the quantitative audit methods. So we use a lot of different types of methods, from online survey, also process mining as a type of quantitative method, but also cost benefit, for example. Here you can see a method that looks into the future, that gives us the opportunity to look to the future, to give the management, for example, a foresight, scenario analysis, to look a little bit forward. On the last slide, I want to give you a short information that already a guideline is developed in this project for Latvia. The guidelines for performance auditing, we developed it with our project partners. And short overview about the content of these guidelines. There are some theoretical inputs about performance auditing, about the 3 E's, the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the economy. But there are also informations about audit planning, how to plan a performance audit. How does the field work look like and which audit methods are useful? And there are a description of all these audit methods. How does the reporting look like? The structure of a report, management summary, audit results, how you can visualize, for example, audit results. We described it in these guidelines. Also the follow-up, and at the appendix you can find an example for performance auditing, an example how can it look like an HR performance auditing, for example. Okay, then I want to say thank you very much for your attention.